Here.
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 Thank you. First of all, I'd like to welcome you all on this very inclement day. Nice of you to actually come and risk all you getting wet and everything, but it's really a delight that you made the effort and you're here today. So thank you for that. The next item is the Pledge of Allegiance, and I've recruited 3 of our students to lead us in the pledge. Ladies, if you'll stand up. The flag is behind us here. Go ahead. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Thank you very much, ladies. There is an attendance sheet in the lobby. If you'd like to register your attendance, please feel free to sign that, and we will note your presence then. Item 2 on the agenda, we have minutes for both the regular session of April 13th and the executive session of April 13th. I know there's been one correction to the executive session. Is there any other corrections? Has anyone got any corrections at this time?
Motion to approve the meeting minutes.
Thank you.
Second.
Aye.
Abstain.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. We just made it. Item 3 on the agenda, the recognition awards, presentations, and public hearings in the GHS Tradition of Excellence. Here we are. And
Mr. Rogers is on his way up to share with us about some students. The board is going to step around here as Mr. Rogers brags on you, and then after he's announced your name, come on up and start with Mr. Choi on that end, and we'll have you group up here in front of the lovely curtain. Mr. Rogers, always cool to see the different and diverse things that our students are doing and being honored for, so glad to hear about this tonight. Take it away.
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Barrett, and thank you very much to the board for this opportunity. Again, we joke that it's a monthly, not even monthly, a bi-monthly affair, which just indicates what great students we have at GHS, and that is certainly true again tonight. So we're introducing 2 groups, and I'm going to start with the students who competed in the Illinois Design Educators Association state competition back on April 11th. These 3 students, just to give you a little background, Mrs. Oxler, who's here this evening, assists these students and enters them into a crosstown CAD Cup competition against Batavia. And the agreement is whoever wins that crosstown CAD Cup, that qualifies that team or that group for the regional competition, which is held at Waubonsee Community College, and then all of these schools in the Waubonsee region are eligible to compete. And then the top 3 competitors at that regional competition qualify for the state competition, as I said, which was held on April 11th down at Illinois State University. So we were fortunate to have 3 students, and I'm going to introduce each student, and as I do so, I'll share what they competed in. So Blake Bulio, and as you can see, and board members, you I think saw the memo. We have a long list of students, but a very small crowd this evening, so we'll be recognizing everyone so that they can be viewed on TV and hear their name read. But Blake Bulio was a state qualifier in 3D machine CAD. Grant Conley was a 3D assembly modeling second place winner in the state competition. And finally, the 3rd student, Zach Evans, was a state qualifier in 3D modeling. The person who is here, Mrs. Oxler. Come on up, Mrs. Oxler. Come on up. Mrs. Oxler, along with Mr. Lucas Kilmer, they teach our Project Lead the Way courses, along with Mr. Simon Selly and Amanda. Yep, stay here. We got to take a picture. solo shot right in the middle there. Mr. Kilmer and Mrs. Oxler and Mr. Simoncelli teach Project Lead the Way. Mr. Kilmer and Mrs. Oxler were the ones assisting our students as they got ready for competition. So congratulations to those students. Thank you to Mr. Kilmer and Mrs. Oxler. And then our next group tonight is our math team that competed in the state competition at Illinois State University. ISU is a big host of a lot of these competitions. So back on Saturday, April 18th, our students competed in the state math competition. They qualified for state by competing in the regional competition at Bennett Academy back in February. So we're going to go through a long list here, and as I read the names, they are either a state qualifier or they were part of some team competitions, or they may have perhaps placed as an individual. So I'll mention that as we go along. Starting with Claire Austin, state qualifier. Addison Brinks, state qualifier. Joey Shintala, state qualifier. Come on up, Joey. If we didn't make it clear, if you are here and you hear your name read, you're going up and shaking hands with Mr. Choi and then working your way down the line and then posing for a picture. So Joey, stay right there and your teammates will join you in a second. Matt Cortez. Matt was part of the junior-senior 8-person team that took 6th place. Isla Cunningham. Isla, am I saying that right? Yes. All right. I know I've been known not to get that one right. Isla was also part of the junior-senior 8-person team that placed 6th. Evan Eberhardt was a state qualifier. Landon Finale was part of the junior-senior 8-person team that took 6th place. Zach Fucht was a state qualifier. Tyler Haney. Tyler placed 4th in the state as an individual Algebra 2 student and also was part of the junior-senior 2-person team that took 4th place and the junior-senior 8-person team that took 6th place. I think Tyler wins the prize for most awards downstate. Tyler Hoffman was a state qualifier. Kirill Lunin was a state qualifier. Gianna Oxler was part of the junior-senior 8-person team that placed 6th. Where is she, Mom? I'm joking. I'm kidding. You want to go get her certificate? All right. All right. Jonathan Papasavastos was part of the junior-senior 8-person team that took 6th place. Claire Reeve, another member of that 8-person team. As I said, Claire was part of that junior-senior 8-person team that also took 6th. Emmy Rios. A member of the junior-senior 8-person team that took 6th. Ella Riviere, a state qualifier. Vicky Romanova was a state qualifier. Addison Ryan, state qualifier. Raul Sanchez, state qualifier. Alvin Tang. Alvin was part of the junior-senior 2-person team that took 6th place. And Samanch Tripathi was a state qualifier. And that rounds out the group that competed and, well, first of all, qualified. And I should share some of those students who are not here tonight. It's pretty logical. They were not able, after qualifying, to make the trip to compete. So I think it's logical that they probably didn't feel it was necessary to come accept their award. But nonetheless, we are very proud of all of our state qualifiers and very proud of these students who are up here tonight and who took the time out of their schedule to come accept their certificates. And as all of our groups do, we're always very proud of how they represent Geneva High School, not just in math competition or in the IDEA competition, but just how they conduct themselves, and represent Geneva High School in a first-class manner wherever they go. So thank you all very much for everything you're doing. And I have to say, I shudder to think of the math problems that they were trying to solve at that competition. And before we get this picture, I realized our math team is coached by Mr. John Thomas, who is not with us tonight, but Mr. Ryan Esterbrook, who's here. And Mrs. Mary Glinke is the third member of the coaching staff. Now we can get that group photo.
Parents still have a chance to come up after I'm done.
Yes.
We're smiling, right? Eyes open. Thank you, appreciate that. Like parents?
Please, go ahead. You want a picture with your child? All right. Everybody good? All right, we're going to take one more photo. No, with mom. There you go.
Yes.
Anybody else going to let their mom get in there? Well done. Good job. All right. Once again, to the board and Dr. Barrett, thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you.
We always enjoy presenting those awards to you, but this seemed a lot more fun, and frankly, a lot more fun than math usually is. So, thank you.
There were too many people to be a member.
Yeah.
Not easy.
I guess somebody told everybody that you don't have to stay, so you're good to go. Next on the agenda, Brian Peterson will present an overview of the 2026-27 facilities capital projects. So I think you'll all be surprised at all of the great things that are taking place around our buildings. Please.
Connect. Give me one moment. Tough group to follow there, huh? Thanks, guys. Thank you all for having me. My name is Brian Peterson. I'm the Director of Operations for the school district. Today we are going to be recapping on fiscal year 25, 26 capital projects, as well as discussing 26, 27 capital improvement projects. And hop right in. To start, we're obviously at Geneva High School. Important to note, the green checks just signify that these projects were completed and closed out in the 25-26 fiscal year. So we have the air handler and chiller conversion. That was consisted of 7 air handlers, and the chiller you see down there, bottom middle. We had the gymnasium fan installation, which had fans installed in both the contest gym as well as Mac Olson gym. We have the library renovation, which I know has made a huge impact over at the high school. They love that space. We modernized 2 elevators, and we replaced the makeup air unit in the maintenance garage. At Middle School North, as you can see to the far right, we had the track replacement. And at Middle School South, we replaced a section of failed roofing, as well as we had quite a bit of interior painting that I wanted to give a shout out to our painter, as well as the summer painters. They did a great job, really brightened up the school and made a big difference in there. Again, feel repetitive with the mechanical work, but that's going to be a common theme for the next handful of years as we, catch up on some of our deferred maintenance that we've got going on. But we had the chiller replacement as well as the chilled water pumps, the fire alarm replacement, and that was at Harrison Elementary School. And then again at Heartland, we had the chiller replacement as well as chilled water pumps. And the top photos are of Harrison, and the bottom two photos are of Heartland, and then the fire alarm panels at Harrison. And you'll notice at Mill Creek Elementary School, the VAV actuator valve replacement, that was one of the projects that was not completed in 25-26. That will be rolled over to the 26-27 capital project. But we did complete an elevator modernization at Mill Creek, and then at Fabian Elementary School, the bottom three photos are the LED upgrade. So that is in the library there. So did brighten up the space, make quite the difference there as well. And then we have the Kesslinger bus garage. We had the parking lot expansion and additional propane tank installation for all their propane buses. And we are going to hop into the 26-27 capital projects. It is important to note that we're discussing these projects, but they have been already approved at previous board meetings. So this is just a kind of recap of some of the work we're going to be starting on June 1 at the end of the school year. So at the greenhouse, we have the greenhouse glazing replacement. We have the paving and site work at the east parking lot and student drop-off. The boiler house fire separation wall, tennis court replacement, server room split system replacement, and some masonry and roofing work that we're going to be taking care of some masonry leaks. I wanted to share this. This is kind of a broad overview of, how much work we'll be doing at the high school, kind of showing we'll be a little bit everywhere on site. So to the furthest right, that is the staff parking lot, as well as that little strip in between the parking lot and the high school. That is the student drop-off. So that'll all be replaced. And then we have down at the bottom some boiler house work. It's that top photo to bring that wall up to code. And then obviously in the high school we have the split system replacement as well as greenhouse replacement. And last but not least, out at Burgess Field, we've got the 8 tennis courts to be replaced. And down there at the bottom, that just shows some of the shape of some of the asphalt and concrete in the areas we're replacing. And then again, some additional photos just for context on the why. So the top photos are of the greenhouse interior and exterior, as well as some of the bottom photos. Bottom two are the tennis courts. And at Geneva Middle School North, we have the boiler replacement and chilled water pumps, health, life, safety work, all category A items. And then at Geneva Middle School South, we're going to be replacing the emergency generator, fire alarm upgrades, an elevator modernization, and then we have, as well as at South, health, life, safety, category A items. And then also window blind replacements. So for this, this is obviously a print. outlined in red is what the new system is set to look like. You can see in the new boiler plant, we have 5 boilers versus the right side where we have the 2 larger ones. So this is essentially going to give us, you know, higher efficiency, smaller boilers for better control and optimization of our building, as well as we should see some cost savings. And then again, just some photos to show you of the current condition. The top photos are of the boiler plant. And then the bottom photos, that is the elevator that's going to be modernized at South. One of the older devices at South, as well as the generator at South that is coming up on 31 years old. And the additional work for 26-27, we've got Fabian Elementary. So we've got mechanical piping repairs in the hot water system. Mill Creek Elementary, we have masonry cleaning and tuck pointing. We've also got that 26 rollover project for replacing the VAV valves, and then the LED lighting upgrade. At Harrison, we're going to be replacing 2 domestic water heaters, and at Kesslinger Bus Garage, we have the mechanic pit replacement. If any of the schools weren't listed, we do not have any work coming up there this summer. Again, some additional photos to show you some of the shapes and the why behind it. The top photo is a leaking VAV valve. You have some of the top middle ones, Fabian leaking pipes, Harrison's water heater, and then at the bottom there we have the oil pit at Kesslinger Bus Garage. And the last slide here is Mill Creek Elementary School. This just shows you some of the deterioration on some of the masonry work and the limestone coping, and why we're going to be cleaning that and resealing all those joints. Any questions?
Questions, anyone?
More or less, just more out of my curiosity. I know it's not part of the capital plan, but over at the high school where we're doing the paving, that speed bump, if we had to do that, would that have been a city project or would that be ours? Because it goes all the way across into our area, right?
So it's technically in the right of way. So although it is city property, if we wanted to get rid of that speed bump in the entirety, we would have to cover the cost of that.
Gotcha.
Anyone else? It looks like you've got more to say, Brian.
Yes, lucky you. All right, so the next one is the preliminary O&M budget. This first slide is introducing some of the team. So we have part of our O&M team, we have Todd Latham, myself, Kyle Johnson, who's the maintenance and grounds coordinator, Tom Sheridan, who's our custodial coordinator, Tim Baker, safety and security coordinator, and then we have Veronica Munoz and Ashley Branghouse, who are admin assistants. The 26-27 staffing, so we have 55 full-time and 27 part-time associates, and that consists of our building, our administration here in the office, custodial, grounds, maintenance, HVAC, security, and technology. And to dig into some of the numbers, so our estimated local and state revenue, we have a estimated local revenue of $14,820,161, and then a state revenue of $2,150,000, and consisting of property taxes, interest income, and rental fees, and other things. Our salaries and benefits, our projected 26-27 budget for salaries is $5,900,000. $963,818. And our benefits projected at $1,327,631 for a grand total of $7,291,449. And it is important to note in this year's budget, we do have the O&M working conditions agreement. So there's you'll see a little bit of a tick of an increase. So we do have a 4.5% increase for all employees in the department. And our professional services, preliminary budget of $3,930,681. And a lot of this is contracted work, our architects, engineers, training, software, service agreements, things of that nature, any contracted services. And I do think it's important to note with the way the economy is going these days, I know we do see it's kind of substantial year over year. We're seeing anywhere from vendors coming back with 5 to upwards of 10% increases on labor rates, materials, and things of that nature. And we're also trying to combat that, changing our preventative maintenance cycles, increasing how often we're checking on certain areas of the buildings and things of that nature to hopefully try and catch things before they become too severe or to where we need to contract services out. And then we have our supplies and materials budget projected at $3,058,505. And this consists of, everything to all those parts and supplies to keep our buildings running. A lot of flush valves, a lot of outlets, a lot of switches, things of that nature. And as well, I believe, yes, we do have utilities in there as well. And then we have our capital purchases are $150,000. And then we have our other services, contingency, and non-capital. So we have other services budget of $1,000, contingency of $40,000, non-capital $550,000 for a grand total of $591,000. And this is our dues and fees, contingency fund, our replacement of equipment or new equipment. And this is our 5-year comparison. So year over year in our local versus state, you can see the previous 3 years from 22-23 to 24-25, a pretty substantial increase in our local revenue, whereas our 25-26 to 26-27 is pretty in line and even keeled right next to each other. Down at the bottom, you also see our salary increases, 25-26 versus 24-25. That was when our new working conditions agreement did go into effect, so we did have a substantial increase to bring some of the employees up to their wage up. But down at the bottom, our estimated total expenses, you can see for our 26-27 year, we have $15,021,635, and our revenue minus expenses of $1,948,526. Our next steps are going to be finalizing our salaries and benefits, confirming our year-end fund balances, finalizing our capital plan, and then preparing our Fund 60. Anybody have any questions or comments?
Yeah, just one quick question. Yeah. When we went with the new working agreement, one of the issues that was an issue prior to going into this was keeping our the positions filled, and we had a large turnover. Have we seen an improvement over the last 2 years as we've moved down that process?
No, absolutely, and thank you for bringing that up. Within that salary, I do want to point out, right around the 24-25 year, when we started talking about that and enacting it. I will say part of that increase is not just our salaries for employees increased, but also our overall retention of employees in those departments. So I think in the past years, we might have been operating, for example, down 15 custodians, 2 grounds, 2 maintenance, whereas today we sit full in our maintenance department, full in our grounds department, and then I believe we're 2 to 3 short in our custodial department versus where we sat, 2 to 3 years ago, anywhere from 15 to 20 down. So that does make a substantial difference. And yes, I do think that the changes in the O&M agreement did help retain people as well.
Anyone else? Thank you, Brian. That last point, and Cruston Paul, is really good as well. It highlights the fine job that you're doing, and we appreciate it.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
Item 4 is safety and security presentation by Tim Baker. He can do more than take pictures.
Jack of all trades. Yeah. Yeah, every year about this time, Mr. Baker comes and just gives us an update on the things, that he can share about where we're at with our safety and security procedures. So this is that time. And as I said, obviously there are things that Mr. Baker's working on behind the scenes constantly that we don't want to share or won't be talking about, but it's just good to have this opportunity to talk about all the things that are happening. And I'm glad to have Mr. Baker here to share those. So
I tested this microphone earlier, so I'm hoping it works.
you're not connected yet though, Mr. Baker.
I'm not?
No. There you go. It's coming. There you go.
Trying to go to the, I think that's what happened. I escaped. Is it taking me out again?
Yeah, don't hit escape.
I'm shaving off about 2 minutes of my time. I should have my microphone up there to say stuff like that. Sorry.
There you go.
From the beginning. I think it popped up there. I just realized that as part of my conversation, I just want to explain. This is going to be my last presentation this year because I'm retiring in July. But it's been my honor to have an opportunity to come here and take pictures and do other things here for the board here. And I want to say thank you to everybody. But the whole goal of safety and security is to make sure the school is safe for the students and the staff. And everything, there's a whole bunch of wizards behind the curtains to making sure that things are safe for the students and staff, to make sure that the students can work and learn in a safe environment, and the teachers can be working in a safe environment, knowing that things are okay. And so the things I'm going to cover today are just a quick explanation of some of the things. I don't want to spend 45 minutes here talking about the safety and security stuff, but the whole goal is to make sure that as the students are walking out the building, we're setting up the safety and security for the next school year. So the summertime projects that start literally, they're going out to the buses and stuff like that, and we're gearing up for the beginning of the school year, checking things, making sure everything is working properly, putting work orders in so the other guys in O&M can take care of and make sure that equipment is working and up to speed. It takes a lot of time to get this all done with our safety team, and then once they're done with that, then they can move on to the other things they have responsibilities for over the summer. But I'm going to put my glasses on because I realized that I forgot to get that little clicker thing to be able to do this and stand in front of the podium and just talk about the things here. But we're in our 3rd year of the safety and security camera upgrade system, and what we've had in our district here is an opportunity to replace a lot of the old cameras And we've gotten the Geneva High School done with 65 new cameras. Both the two middle schools have about the same amount of cameras there. And then also Williamsburg Elementary School, Harrison Street School, and the bus transportation garage, which I was really happy to get that one done for that, because we have the new propane tanks and such over there. But the goal is to get the schools replaced with all the cameras. We have a lot of some aging cameras, and the focus for next year will be the last 4 schools in this, which would be Western, Fabian, Mill Creek, and Heartland. Those are schools that I mean, they don't need the amount of cameras that the I was talking to the business man right over there that it's not going to be as expensive at the Geneva High School, because the 4 schools don't have as many cameras over there for that. But it is a need for such for the safety and security for the buildings and stuff. And I just want to kind of glaze over. Every year we do the 6 drills. If you've ever had an opportunity to be at the schools when they're doing either the fire drills or the bus evacuation is the most entertaining, I think. The bus drivers are very committed to making sure that the student understand the concept of evacuating out the back of the bus and such. But the focus I want to talk about, we have a 5-year program that we've done with the I Love You Guys program for our safety parent unification. We've done the first year we did the Geneva High School, second year with the 2 middle schools, then we split the elementary schools 3 and 3, and so we've completed all 9 of the schools with a training for staff in case there's a need for a parent unification. And what I want to explain to that is I can only use one hand. I'm like a one-armed fisherman because I got to keep this close to my base. Is that we have a plan that can pretty much cover just about everything. But the reality is, a lot of our plans, anything that's going to happen in our district, the more likely things, the 99.9% of things, a power outage, a lightning storm. That's why I was joking with Brian. The lightning was kind of closer earlier. I was hoping the power wasn't going to go out because I wanted to get through this presentation here tonight. But the power outages, something breaking, water in the building, no water in the building, all those things where we have a parent unification or the need for it. Some of these are so simple that that we don't need all the resources, but we are geared up to handle the big ones. And so we can do the little ones relatively easy with a core group of people at the schools, and also the staff from this building here. I would like to describe them as the rapid deployment force that would come over and assist the school in reuniting the children with their parents and such to make sure that everybody gets home safely, because that's our biggest responsibility. And I never understood what the annual review was until when I first started, and my former boss told me this is going to take a while, and I'm like, and 2.5 months later I was like, God, this took a long while. But the whole idea of the annual review is to get our first responders, our school administrators, getting all the information collected from our district, how many students that may have special needs or is wheelchair bound and stuff, that the first responders, they don't need to know the students' names, but they just need to know where are things at, and reinforcing that we added a AED at the Geneva High School. The fire department was happy to hear that we now have 11 AEDs at the Geneva High School. But getting the information, getting everybody together, and it's a lot easier for me to talk to the board when I kind of make eye contact with you and look at everybody else in the room, to not have the opportunity for our first responders to get together in the same room to answer questions from our administrators, or the questions that they may have or the administration might have about the police cars, the fire trucks, and all the different things that happen. We had one annual review that I thought I was the star of the show until the Kane County deputy walked in with the cutest dog ever, and I might have been third fiddle, maybe fourth fiddle to that annual review meeting, because everybody was infatuated with the dog, and but it was just one of those things where I just learned that these dogs are so fun, and they calm everybody down immediately. And it was it's a really great resource for us to know that the fire department, or the sheriff's department, and the Geneva Police Department has another dog too. If anybody knows the name, I forgot to pull that name out of my hat before I started this presentation. But it's all about making sure that our community overall is ready and safe. That's safety and security is all blend in this. But everything we do in our district is to make sure that everything that happens in the classroom is going to be okay, because all the other people around it are making sure the buildings and the lights are on, the heating is on, the air conditioning is on, there's security people, just to make sure everybody's safe. And if there's a situation that happens, and we've had these happen before, where schools have had situations that have come up, and they've done the really good thing, because we have a lot of information that comes on. This here on the right-hand side is the posters we have at the school districts. On the back of your ID cards, we all have, because I think I see most of the board members with the ID cards. On the back of them has a very quick plan of action to what to do in the moment. Because you can't expect people to do 20 different things in an emergency. We're lucky if we can do 2, maybe 3 if they practice a lot. And the whole idea is to have a poster at the schools. So, because one side on the left-hand side is what the students should be doing, or what the students can be doing. On the right-hand side is for what the adults should be doing, to make sure that they're aware. Because this is not just the teacher responsibility to make sure the school is safe. It's also the students' responsibilities to make sure the school is safe. And they work together with us to make sure that it's a very safe environment. And I spoke about the back of their ID cards. It's very simple. If there's a hold, and I'll give you an example, the hold is when a kid throws up in the hallway, and they go to a hold, it's because they want to clean that up so they don't have 30 other kids seeing it and then throwing up all over the hallway. Or the teacher's getting sick, or the smell and stuff. It's just to keep everybody in the classrooms and move on. And go into a secure. If we ever have a squirrel break into our buildings, we had a squirrel here in our building one time. It was a free-for-all for about a half hour until Audrey came with a box and finally trapped him and got him out of the building. So everybody lived happily ever after. And so all these things are there for us to know what to do when something pops up. When we go, okay, that's it's evacuate. We know how to evacuate. The teachers have practiced it. The students have practiced it. Our kindergartners, first graders, by the time they get to high school, they've done it. Maybe 24 times, and they're very familiar with what they need to do and how to get out of their buildings and such. In the parent unification sites, I had the document I sent earlier. I had missed it. It was it's updated for all of our buildings because we have a primary parent unification site. We also have secondary sites because we can't just have one plan and no other plan. We have to have a plan A, a plan B, and a plan C. So most of our schools have a plan A, a plan B, and plan C regarding a parent unification if it need be. And then we're moving on to the Safe School Tip Line. I'm not sure who in this room came up with a title, Safe School Tip Line, because I always like to tell people, this is not about getting students in trouble. It's about a student that maybe is in crisis and needs some assistance. We have a whole plethora of people that can come in and assist if we know a child or a student is having some difficulties, having some struggles, having some anger issues, where we can get them help for them and de-escalate the situation before it gets out of hand. We all know towns all across America have had situations that have occurred, but a lot of times if there's early intervention with maybe if it's a tip line, somebody says something, somebody calls somebody passes information on, it really helps to make sure that the students and staff are safe because we can help them. Because it's like anything, if the problem is this big, it's so much easier to fix it than if it were this big. So the tip line is a very good tool for us to try and help the students. And again, it's not to punish anybody, it's trying to help them and keep them in our schools. Our Raptor system is if you ever come into our buildings, Raptor is to make sure that people that shouldn't be in our building are not allowed to be in our building. And it's a very effective tool. It's people feel safe. I was just at Williamsburg a couple of days ago, and they had a parent teams coming there. I wasn't sure exactly what it was, but they had everybody's Raptored in. They were just handing these things out. People were checking in. They were actually looking at the ID cards to make sure the person that was picking up the ID card was a person in the picture. It's a very effective tool for us to make sure that those that shouldn't be in our school are not in our buildings. And then the Raptor system stuff, we can add other private alerts if we need to. That has to do with maybe building specific. And all that is confidential information. And our security cameras, I kind of touched base with about those, that it's not to really get students in trouble. If you've anybody been at Best Buy in the last 2 or 3 years, you walk into Best Buy and there's a guy at the door, normally in a bright yellow shirt. He's working the camera. He's, hey, how you doing, sir? As you're walking in the door, hey, ma'am, how you doing? Making eye contact with the person in hopes that they don't steal from Best Buy. He also has got a mouse. He's moving the cameras around to let people know that he is watching the cameras. So it lets people know, hey, please don't steal from us. But it's a good way of just telling people not to be doing something and then demonstrating, that we're watching. And it's very nice. They're always the nicest people in the world when they're doing this. But our camera systems at schools is to keep our students from not making bad choices. And a lot of times I think if there's a camera, they're going to go like this one right there that's staring at me that I was hoping was pointing at somebody else while I was talking. But thank you for maintaining it over here on me, is to make sure I'm covering everything I need to cover. The drill observations that we have, when we go out our drills, I'll try and monitor and watch those. Our red bags, you've heard me talk about our red bags we have in our classrooms. Those are for emergencies, and the teachers bring those out. If the building has to evacuate, they've got student rosters and other information that they may need if it need be. That's in those red bags. It's a whole bunch of stuff on that. And we do other compliance checks throughout the whole year. If there's if there's doors slamming, not working right, or any different things, the fobs, access points aren't working, or if a board member's ID card stops working, I turn it back on really quick as soon as I get a phone call from the boss to make sure that you can get into the board meetings. The one final thing I'm going to be talking about here is the staying up to date on practices. Our district has a lot of things that go on in our district, but there's a lot more in the greater community. We meet every month during the school year at the Regional Office of Education and kind of roundtable discussions about what's happened in other communities. What happens in Aurora sometimes makes it up to here. You may have heard what happened in Dundee. It was Dundee a couple of weeks ago, where they're doing the senior assassin. One student showed up with a assault rifle-looking squirt gun at an elementary school, and there was a massive police response to that. And they're not supposed to be doing this at schools, but these things can trickle down, and we just want to be prepared for these things. We push information out to the schools to make sure the students understand this is not something for school property. And then my final one, I didn't change anything from last year on this particular slide because the training is so important for all of us, for everything we do in our district, but also that I don't know that we have a complacent school district or staff. They're very much involved in wanting to make sure the students are safe and successful. And then my final thing is, any questions?
Questions, anyone? Dan?
I just have one. It's not really for you, Mr. Baker, but maybe for you, Mr. Peterson and Dr. Barrett. With Mr. Baker's retirement and I believe our resource officer at the high school changing over, will there be any overlap? Because with a lot of institutional knowledge leaving, I think it would be important to have that.
Absolutely. We're working through that process right now, and we've already, with the new resource officer at the high school, he's already been in at the high school and met, and I know he's working with our current resource officer, Detective Haney. Our team here has had a lot of conversation about this transition with Mr. Baker already, and that's why we're grateful he's given us a little bit of runway here to be able to do some of that planning. So we recognize that's going to be an important need.
Great, thanks.
Tim, thank you so much. I'm assuming you'll have a little more time to get in that pool this summer. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Next item is public comments. Bonnie, did you receive any requests for comment? No. Would anybody like to say anything now? This is your chance. Okay. Next is legislative updates, item 5.
All right, thank you. I have just a couple things I wanted to go over today. One was a specific bill Dr. Barrett had brought to our attention. It's House Bill 5107. Has to do with panic alarms being installed at our schools. This particular bill did pass through, let me get it up here, through the House and is now in the Senate. So it did make that deadline that I had talked about last time, and they're working through it. I read through it. I did see a key word in there in the legislation, the proposed legislation that says that the districts shall consider the use of the mobile panic alarm system. So I think that's a key that kind of gives us some flexibility as a district, because this is an unfunded mandate if it does get passed. So we are always sensitive to those things, and we just heard a safety presentation, so we know that we're thinking about these things and we have procedures in place for that. But hopefully with that one keyword in there, that will help us. But we'll see how this one moves along, and should it get passed through the Senate, I'll let everyone here know how that ended up. So that was one thing. Another one I wanted to mention that was brought to our attention has to do with one of a constitutional amendment that's related to what they're calling the millionaire's tax. This was a 3% surcharge on a portion of a taxpayer who has a net income that is greater than $1 million. This particular proposal is not something that can just go through the House and the Senate like we're used to. This actually requires a constitutional amendment. And at this point, it appears that it's not going to be able to move forward because this is something that would actually have to be voted on at the next general election. But it does not appear it will make it through the process so that it gets on the ballot. But if it was something that continues, and I think it will be continuing to have some sort of discussion, that 3% surcharge they're estimating would be an additional $2.2 billion annually for the state. And what are they going to do with that money? 50% is going to be distributed to provide property tax relief, and the other 50% would be distributed to school districts on a per pupil basis. So I just wanted to mention that as a possible future amendment that could potentially help us out, but I don't know how far this is going to go. We've heard these things before, specific taxes on people who make a certain amount of money each year, but we'll see what happens. There's one other bill that came up in our finance committee. I'll let Dr. Barrett talk a little bit more about it, but it has to do with the mega project bill, which is another bill that's moving through that has to do with mega projects. It's basically kind of about the Chicago Bears and their new stadium, but it does have other implications for potentially us. I'll let him talk more about that.
Yeah, thanks, Jackie. I just think it's important for us to keep an eye on this one. This mega projects bill is the Bears bill. You know, there's this whole negotiation going on, trying to keep the Bears in the state and all that kind of stuff. And so there some members of the legislature are working to try to come up with some kind of grand bargains and compromises to potentially have like this mega projects bill, that if big projects come into a community, there would need to be negotiation with the local taxing bodies. There would be structures in place if something like that happened that would look a lot like TIFs look now. And so I just think it's important for us to be mindful of that. I know there's not a chance the Bears are coming to Geneva, but the thing is we don't know what other implications there could be in terms of like if data centers would be included in this, and there's a lot of talk about that. If you have other big projects, you know, like they're looking at on the far east side over here, like could there be implications for something like that? So I don't know. I just think it's important for us to watch that, because as we know and have seen with TIFs, once that's there, and those things can start happening, and then they're going to be there, and there's just going to be more of them. So I just think it's important for us to be mindful. Thanks, Jackie.
Yeah, and that concludes my report.
Yeah, and that was the smoothest segue to the superintendent's report I've ever seen. Please, Dr. Barrett.
Thank you, sir. Just a few quick topics, and thank yous mostly to hit tonight. First, I just want to give huge thank you to our administrative professionals. Last week was Administrative Professionals Day. And we have a team of approximately 40 awesome individuals who just make such a difference in our school and in our community every day. We're really grateful for that team of people. And, you know, we try to highlight at each meeting like different groups that are just doing great things for our community. And this was perfect timing with admin professionals day just being last week. So we're really grateful for all they do to keep things running so smoothly for our faculty and staff and our kids. Also, just this was timely as well because Mr. Baker was presenting tonight. And I just want to give a few thank yous about safety and security. And I do want to start, I hope he's not too far away and can hear, because I do want to say a huge thank you to Mr. Baker as he is preparing for retirement. As you heard and as you know, he does a lot to help us prepare for emergencies. But I am also truly, truly grateful for this role and for Mr. Baker when those emergencies do occur. Because to have someone that you know will just be there and be on it when those things happen, when you're sitting in this chair, makes a huge difference. And I can say candidly, if I were to think of the hardest moments I've had in this job, most of them, Tim has been the first person to talk to me because something happened. And I'm just grateful that he's always there, and that we have somebody who has all those connections and is so willing to go out and be out in our community and in our schools, try to keep us safe. So grateful to the board for having that role, and Tim, thank you for being that person. You know, and to that end, that role partners a lot with our community partners, and I do really want to thank them as well. You know, just in the last few days, I've been connecting with some local police officers, connecting with the fire chief about some things. So people don't always see those connections happening, but they're happening a lot because we're making sure that we're doing the right stuff and keeping safe. So want to thank all of our community partners. And, you know, as Tim noted, just every member of our community who does all the little things to help make sure we're staying safe. Then the last thing, just thought it would be valuable to make sure we address this. We haven't in a while. As you know, we're preparing for a big student information system transition. This is going to be a massive, massive shift for our district. And our technology and data staff have been doing so much work behind the scenes, and some of that work has been trickling out to in front of the scenes a little bit. The final stages of data conversion are underway. The amount of work that our data team has done to take all the data that's been in this system for 2 decades and get it all converted to be in the new system in the right way, they've been working hard, and they're getting close. We've had several user training sessions, and a lot more are planned over the summer. There's a full communication campaign in the works, and we've talked a little bit about this, that we're really starting with our focus being on our staff before we get to some of the communication and opening up some of those tools for our community. But that doesn't mean we're not preparing for that. We just want to make sure we start with the staff before we then transition to the community. And the one thing that I think, why I think our community probably knows a little bit about this, if anything, is because we've accelerated some of our year-end and beginning of the year processes like verification and registration and all these kinds of things to help us be prepared for this transition. So thanks to our families for working through all of that with us. And we know it's different for this year, but it's going to pay off in the long run when we make this transition. So thanks to families, and again, just thanks to all the time and effort from folks behind the scenes preparing for this system transition. We think it's going to go well. That's all I have, Larry.
Thank you very much, Dr. Barrett. The next item is item 7, the board dialogue and topics pending action consideration. Item 1 is Consolidated District Plan. Assistant Superintendent Shanette Sims will present us with the 2027 District Plan. Oh, not quite. Jane.
George, you're taking over, huh?
We have a Mr. Petmez is here. I've heard that computers are going to save us a lot of time.
Right.
I'm not sure I believe it yet.
Oh, there we go. Okay, well, thank you. It's hard to believe that next week we're in May, and from the Office of Learning and Teaching, we have already been starting the preparation for next school year, for fiscal year 27. And part of that process includes the approval of the Consolidated District Plan. So just to give you a little idea of what what this does, this is the first step in opening and having access to all of the federal grants that come our way. So really the Illinois State Board of Education identifies 3 goals here for this consolidated district plan that includes student learning, learning conditions, and elevating educators. So all of the grants that are attached to the consolidated district plan are right here. We've got the Title I, Title II, Title III, Title IV, and of course our largest grant, which is the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. And the numbers that I have here are from this school year. We expect that these numbers will, for the most part, continue into next year. We have seen a small decline each year in these numbers, but you know, we will. I will share those new numbers with you once we get those approved by the state. But before we could even apply for these grants, we have to first get approval from the school board to submit this district plan. And so what does that mean? Part of the district consolidated district plan, we would kind of go in there and identify how we would use the funds should we get, you know, approved for that. So I would go into each of these grants and share A, how we've used these funds in the past, and B, how we will continue to use these funds in each of these categories here. So just to provide you a little bit of background for each of the grants here, Title I, improving the academic achievement of the disadvantaged. These funds are specifically tied to students that are quote unquote at risk. So in each of these grants, you'll notice there is a non-public requirement that we provide to our non-public schools. And so here in Geneva, we have 2. That's St. Peter's here in Geneva and Monzio Montessori. Title I is also a little different in that these funds follow students that might be attending a private school outside of our Geneva. So let's say they go to Aurora Christian or any other public school. So we do reach out to all of these schools. The state provides us with a list. There's close to 30 or so that we reach out and we make them aware that these funds are available. Most decline the funds, but you know, each year at least Monzio and St. Peter's does accept these funds. But here in Geneva, we do use these funds to support our students that are at risk, and that is either through salaried positions or through professional development or through supplemental and or instructional materials. Title II, this is specifically speaks to the professional development, preparing training. So most all of these funds are used for professional development for us. The only 2 private schools are those that reside within Geneva School District are eligible. So for these funds, they are not tied to where students go, however, only to those private schools that are in Geneva School District boundaries, so which are those 2 schools. Title IV is used to support student and academic achievement. So what we use these funds for actually is a lot of the things that we don't really talk about on a daily, you know, basis. So think about some of the fun activities that might go on in a classroom outside of, you know, reading and math. If you would ever like to come and observe an eyeball being dissected in one of our elementary, a cow eye, I should say, be dissected in an elementary, I can make that happen. You could come. But a lot of these STEM type of activities that we use these funds to kind of balance out, you know, all the great things that go on in our classrooms. We also use some of these funds for, you know, health and safety, our mutual grounds presentations, and Aaron's Law presentations. So that's what Title IV is for. Again, these are also has a portion of non-public, again, only for those non-public schools that reside within the Geneva boundaries. Title III, there were some rumors initially, I believe last year this time, I shared that perhaps this one was might be going away, or these funds might be transferred to a different grant or title. They're not, they're back. So these funds are directly tied for students that are receive language instruction for English programming, so our EL students. We have also, again, a small number that is tied to non-public schools, again, only for those here in Geneva. And again, our largest grant, I believe this one was close to $1.4 million. That's our Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. These funds are used for a variety of reasons from our students, by our Student Services Department, to support salaried positions, materials, curriculum if needed, anything really to support our students district-wide. So I am hoping that you all approve the Consolidated District Plan and how we intend to use these funds, so that we could submit that plan so they could open up the applications for each of the title grants. Do we have any questions?
Any questions?
We had 2 IDEAs tonight.
I know.
Illinois Design Educators Association and this one.
All right, well, thank you very much, George.
I'll make the motion. I think we have to make a motion, right?
It,
Do we do it now?
it's not in my agenda, but if it is an appropriate time, we can certainly proceed with that.
I'll make the motion to approve the Consolidated District Plan.
Okay.
Do I have to give a year for 2027, FY 27?
Okay.
Second.
Aye.
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 Aye. Thank you. Item 2 is the designation of auditor. And Todd Latham will present the information, and we will have another motion for that, I'm sure.
Yes, each year under the Illinois School Code, we're required to designate an auditor that will perform our auditing service as a third party. Again, this year, as last year, we recommend Whipley, who is exceptional for us. We work really well with them. We've got a fine-tuned process. We've automated some of that using our cumulative new software to help kind of move through that process more quicker than we have in past years, and they bring in a really good team that works well with our staff. So it's my recommendation the board approve Whipley as our auditing firm and designate them as our auditor. They'll be auditing all the funds through the close of this fiscal year, June 30th, 2026.
Thank you very much, Todd. Do we have any questions or a motion?
So moved.
Second. Aye.
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 Aye. Thank you. Item 8, work study topics and future action consideration. Policy updates. It's a first reading, updated, reviewed, and new policies. And there are, let's see, it looks like about 25 of them.
Skip one.
Did I skip one?
Yeah, the support staff.
Oh, no, it's not on the other.
Oh, this was public. Okay.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right, so there are 25 items here. The policy chair will respond to questions about the policy updates and reviews for the first reading. So they've been reviewed by the administration and the policy committee, and we don't require any action at this time, but if anyone has any questions, it's appropriate.
I thought I would just add a couple of notes for everyone. So most of the policies are slight changes, legal reference changes, or just a review, which is very important. It's a requirement to review these every 5 years, and it's just good for us all to have a refresher of the existence of some of these policies that we may not have to utilize all the time. But I thought I'd call your attention to 2 policies. There's policy 2200, and that's types of board meetings, and that one had a question that we had to answer about posting a meeting notice in multiple locations if we have a special meeting. So not just posting it here at the district office, but also posting it at the location of the special meeting. We answered no to that question because most often our meeting is here in the district office, so that's where it would be posted. We thought it would remain consistent, and if someone came looking for a meeting here and it was at another location, the notice would be here to tell them it was at another location. And we have many other ways to notify people of meeting locations that they probably utilize more with online platforms, more so than just coming in person. Our second policy was 2220, board education meetings, and the question on that one was if we should take roll call on all matters when we're during a meeting, and we said yes because that's currently what we do. So we just thought we should match that policy to what we currently do in any financial matters or any other question. We just take a roll call vote. But let me know if you have any questions on the other policies, and we'll approve those at the next meeting.
Anyone else?
I had one, and it's really picky, but I was looking at policy 4165. Is this the right one?
Awareness.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Okay.
6145.
Okay.
I should look at my notes before I say it. The migrant students. So
Sure.
on this one, on number 3, they made a change from stating that it will provide migrant children, blah, 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 to provide migrant students. And the reasoning was just that it was an update. But in the same sentence, they used the word children at the end. And I just thought that was interesting. So if we're changing children to students in the sentence, why does it still say children? Shouldn't that be students? And I don't know if that's something that we can ask IASB, but it was just, if they went to the trouble to change the word children to students, why didn't they do it in the same policy? See what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying, and I think either way the sentence could be a little confusing because I read it differently, but I see how you're reading it now that you're saying that. Yeah, like that they're both. We could ask about that. Let's ask.
Totally nitpicky.
Yeah, no, but
when
No,
I read it,
yeah.
that's what you're supposed to do, right?
Yeah,
why
you
didn't they
got that.
change both of them to
Yeah,
students?
we'll check into that.
Okay, that was the only thing. But thank you for bringing up the questions because I thought that might be how we voted, but now it's ready for next time when we vote. So.
Great, thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Next, item 9, information. Board meeting presentation schedule, 2 FOIA requests and board correspondence, 3 suspension report. This is for information only. Discussion is not required, but if anyone has any questions, I would entertain them at this time. Okay, next, my personal favorite, the consent agenda. Item 1, personnel report, that is. Resignations, retirements, leave requests, changes in assignments, full-time equivalent, and new hires. Item 2, monthly financials for March. Item 3, gifts, grants, and bequests, $500 Richardson Electronics Limited for the GHS Robotics Club. Item 4, gifts, grants, and bequests, $17,411 Mill Creek PTO to purchase new playground equipment. Questions? A motion?
Motion to approve the consent agenda.
Second? Aye.
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 Aye. Thank you, Bonnie. Next is board member comments and reports. Just to be unusual, we'll start with Dan this time.
Yeah, just a couple of things. Congratulations to our students on the traditional excellence, those recipients. I think a lot of times it revolves around athletics, but I love that this time it had to do with math and IDEA, and so some different types of tradition. And as Mr. Rogers mentioned, representing Geneva very well in their respective events, so that's awesome. Let's see, the O&M and safety presentations, thank you for all that information. There was a lot of good information in there. So for those that are watching, it would be good to take a look at those presentations again, because there is a lot of good information in there. And then I guess kind of along the same lines, we just approved the Mill Creek Playground upgrade, and I think that's a long time coming. I know that I was telling Dr. Barrett this afternoon that I think my middle daughter Mina, I think she, when George was there, I think she ran her student council campaign based off of the upgrade to that playground. So that's a long time coming. So that's good. That's all I have.
Thanks, Dan.
Yeah, I really don't have anything this time. I was out for last week and a half, so I'm gonna pass on that.
Okay, Jackie?
Right, I'll echo Dan. Congrats tonight on everyone who received the Tradition of Excellence Award, and agreed. It was nice to see different folks from different groups come and see us tonight, and for coming out in the inclement weather that we had tonight. So I know that had a factor in being able to get here tonight. I wanted to also mention that I was able to attend the musical at the high school on Thursday night. What a fantastic show. I know many students are involved in that, and it was truly just exceptional. I think I believe last year when they did Seussical, I talked about the choreography. Well, this just took it to a new level. The way that they were able to dance and sing these pretty complicated moves. I happened to watch the movie the weekend before just to refresh my memory on it, and it was really aligned with the movie. And they did a great job of keeping it kind of like a teen version, but still kept really all the contents of what that movie was about. So absolutely fantastic. I'm glad I was able to do that. I wanted to just give out a couple shout outs, reminders for folks. May 9th is prom at the high school, and every year we have the post-prom event for the students when they come back, and it's really important. I want to remind folks that they are looking for donations. You can go onto their Amazon wish list, you can give cash. They're also looking for volunteers. It takes a lot of people to put on the post-prom, so that students have a safe place to go afterwards and really enjoy themselves. There's a lot of prizes that are given out at the end, and I know they all enjoy that. So just a reminder to everyone to donate if you can.
Jackie,
and then
where
yes.
can we find that volunteer sign up again?
My guess is it's through the PTO, so it's probably on the high school PTO
Okay.
site.
I'll get that information and share it in a.
Yeah.
I know it's also in the GHS Connects that comes out, the little newsletter each week.
Okay.
So
Great.
Wonderful. Thank you. Because I didn't actually go and look at that. And then the other thing they just started advertising it. The jazz dinner is on May 19th. I usually put a plug in for this every year. This is where the Geneva High School Band and the Geneva High School Blue Tones perform. It's more casual. If you're interested, you can buy tickets for dinner. That's provided by Rignados, and enjoy music, or you can just come and listen without having to participate in the dinner part of that. So again, that is May 19th at the high school. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Stephanie?
great. I will just echo what Dan and Jackie said about our presenters tonight and our award recipients. Something that kind of stood out to me today was just how much our staff puts into students and creating some opportunities for them, like with what Mrs. Oxler does to team up Geneva and Batavia. And I know that that's not an isolated case. All of our staff does that when working with their teams or their extracurriculars. So thank you so much, because it really pays off for our students in many different ways. Also, I was able to attend to the musical and just wanted to say congrats to the theater department and music department. It was a wonderful weekend of shows. I know everyone had a great time, and it just really showed on stage. So great job to all the kids and the staff for all their work on that. And then thank you to everyone from the community that came out. They had almost sold out shows most nights, so that was really exciting to see. Just nice not only to see a great performance, but to see the community come together in that way. So thank you to everybody. And then thank you to all of our administrative professionals. I know, like, when I think about our safety plans, I often think that those people sometimes are the start of that. They're like the first face you see in the building. They have to hold those rules really tight, and I just always appreciate them and their thoughts in everything that they do, and you see it in that way, in such an important way for all of them. And then I know Jackie was giving a little shout out to things ahead. We've already started ABC countdowns in the elementary schools. Can you guys believe that? But just good luck to all of our staff and parents as we get through May-December. So. That's all I've got.
Thank you, Stephanie. I can only slightly add a little bit. I was lucky enough with Jackie to be at City Hall for the last City Council meeting, where they honored some of our mid-school athletes and also some of the foreign exchange students attending Geneva High School. So that was fun to see. And that completes it. The notices and announcements. Does anyone have any notices or announcements? Okay, item 13, executive session to consider matters pertaining to collective negotiation matters between the public body and its employees. Let's see, here we go. Oh, that's a real nice long one. Or their representatives, or deliberations concerning the salary schedules for one or more classes of employees, appointment, employment, compensation, or discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific individuals who serve as independent contractors in a park, recreational, or educational setting, or specific volunteers of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee, a specific individual who serves as an independent contractor in a park, recreational, or educational setting, or a volunteer of the public body, or against legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity. However, a meeting to consider an increase in compensation to a specific employee that is subject to the local ordinance Wage Increase Transparency Act may not be in closed session and must be open to the public and posted and held in accordance with the act. So we have to go into an executive session. We need a motion to do that. I know Stephanie's dying to do it.
Motion to go into executive session.
Second. Aye.
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 Aye. Okay, we will take a few-minute break if anyone needs one before we proceed with this meeting, and this is an opportunity for all of you who attended to get away.